The video that we're about to blind react to is rather unfortunate, but I understand. I understand when the lines of communication get blocked and now you have to find alternative ways to send a message, even if it means that message is a diplomatic message. There are many ways to skin a cat, but this is where we find ourselves. All because one nation decided to take a brown envelope from you know who. And I'm telling you right now, it's not going to end well for the people when these leaders are long gone. There are consequences for bad decisions. Anyways, this is a video that was posted, I believe, about 4 hours ago. At first, I thought, is this AI? Is this real? Then I started looking at, in fact, not even looking, since I've been following the so-called repatriation of Ghanaians from South Africa to Ghana. There's been some things that were being said that were untrue. I've came out here and I called out the foreign minister of Ghana and I called him a liar. And he keeps proving it over and over and over again that he is a liar. And now the South African government is picking that up. Here's the video. We're going to react to it and then I'll come back later with my commentary.
Good evening, my dear brother, Samuel Abakwa. I'm greeting you from Pretoria in South Africa. I've watched your interview with one of the Ghanaian media with shock and disappointment because the interview is riddled with misinformation and factual inaccuracies. The first factual inaccuracy is that almost 30% of the Ghanaians that you have repatriated and that we have assisted you to repatriate were legal in South Africa. It is not true, and this has been communicated to the High Commissioner. Secondly, that there are 2 Nigerian nationals that have been killed during the current wave of attacks against foreign nationals, particularly of African descent in South Africa. We have verified with all our law enforcement agencies and all state authorities, there was no Nigerian or there is no Nigerian national that has been killed during this current wave of attack. Thirdly, that there are 5 Mozambican nationals that have been killed in South Africa during the current wave of attack. That is also devoid of truth. It's not correct. At least 2 Mozambican nationals have indeed been killed, and the South African Police Service is investigating the matter. It's following leads with possible arrests soon. And as the South African government, we have extended our condolences to the Mozambican government. We deeply regret this incident, and we have condemned it with the strongest terms. Again, the South African government has called for restraint, has called for respect of the rule of law in South Africa, has called for all the groups to stop enforcing immigration laws, and to have, when they have got protests, which is constitutional, to be violent against foreign nationals. So we now have 3 of your statements you have claimed to the media house in Ghana that have been proven to be not true. The 4th lie in the interview is that there are 16 Ghanaian nationals, and we have, as the South African government, been informed about these 16 Ghanaian nationals who are in the hospitals in South Africa. I have verified with our law enforcement agencies. This, again, it is not true. We don't have any verified information, including in our hospitals, that there are such Ghanaian nationals. And if it is indeed correct that they are such, I have also verified with our officials responsible and dealing with the Ghanaian High Commissioner in South Africa, whether they have received a note verbal about these injured Ghanaian nationals in our hospitals. And they've also said they've not received any such note verbal. So this proves your line of communication of intending to engage with the South African government through social media, through interviews, that it is really not helping to restore what should be cordial working relations between the two countries. We have had challenges in the past. We have handled them in a cordial manner. That is what we will continue to request you to do. Lastly, with regards to the threat that there is a public pressure for you to consider the nuclear route against South African companies in Ghana, I will tell you that it will not be for the first time that such a thing happens. When the current administration came into office in Ghana, I engaged you about the unbearable working conditions that have come to bear against South African companies since the current administration has come into office. I wrote you a letter. I will not disclose this letter at this stage, but I will be prepared to disclose the letter and send it to the public through Twitter like you are doing when we raised the issue that impacts South African companies in Ghana. So we will not be shocked nor surprised if such a route is taken. It was made clear from the beginning that this is where we are going. So you should not hide behind the current attacks as the basis to move with whatever motive you have against South African companies in Ghana. The South African government continues to remain very cordial with the Ghanaian government, and we deeply regret incidences that have happened against your nationals. Again, we call for the South African public to exercise restraint, to ensure that if there is any demonstration, it's not violent. Ghanaians are our brothers, and we want to continue to live with them, engage with them, and resolve issues amicably. With regards to the call for the debate at the African Union, as the South African government, we have said we remain ready to engage with the Ghanaian government or to engage at the multilateral forum of the African Union on the pull and push factors in relation to irregular migration. Irregular migration is a global challenge. It is not unique to South Africa. It will need all of us as African states to share responsibility to deal with irregular migration. We are one of the highest receiving countries in the continent in regards to irregular migration. So we will need to share this responsibility, and we will be ready to engage, my dear brother, in this debate as it moves on. I hope you will find this message in order, as it is the choice of communication and the line of communication that we have chosen, despite our repeated requests that let's have cordial and diplomatic engagements. I thank you, and I wish you good night in Accra. Thank you very much.
Well, I think that's the end of Ronald Lamola, our Minister of Foreign Affairs, basically addressing his counterpart, the Ghanaian Minister of Foreign Affairs, the liar, about the lies that he's been telling the people of Ghana through Twitter, through interviews, television and radio, as well as podcasts, just lying about South Africa, just propagating. because for some reason Ghana decided to take a position that they are going to try and destroy the reputation, the good name of South Africa onto the international community. But here's the thing about lies. Lies have short legs, Mr. Ablakwa. And there are consequences for lying. At some point, the people of Ghana will wake up and realize that you are the danger to their future. Because the people that paid you the brown envelope, it's just for you and your family, not for the people of Ghana. And the people of Ghana in the near future are the ones that are going to pay for that brown envelope. There's a say that I learned growing up that if you make a deal with the devil always comes back to collect. And the people of Ghana will just have to pay back for the rest of their lives because of your corruption. You thought we are weaklings. You thought that you can just bully South Africans nilly-willy and we are going to roll over and play dead. Here's the thing about South Africa, Mr. Ablakwa. We are honest. We believe in talks. That is why your people were able to be in South Africa for more than 2 decades. They established themselves. They lived well amongst us. We even fell in love with them. We didn't even consider Ghanaians in all of this stuff that is happening in South Africa. As a matter of fact, South Africans put it in their heart that Ghanaians are going to be protected, legal or illegal. You see, there, we were willing to compromise to protect Ghanaians. Little did we know that you guys are foxes in sheepskin, and your nature has come out to play, and the world is now going to be careful how they deal with you. Anyways, let's go back to our Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ronald Lamola. Number one, Ronald Lamola, it looks like you are beginning to see the light that South Africans have been talking about when it comes to Ghanaian government. I will put the Ghanaian people aside. Once again, I know this is a mistake I might be making because we kept making the same mistake by taking Ghanaians and putting them under our arm and say, don't worry, we'll protect you. With everything that's going on, these are the people we want out of our country. We would have remained with Ghanaians because we love them. But no, those that were repatriated, some of them, funny enough, I know them. Did you see the guy that when he was asked about xenophobic attacks, he took off his t-shirt and started showing marks on his body? Sir, you know me, right? You know me. Yeah. And do you want me to tell the world why you actually got those marks on your body? Do you want me to also tell you how the South African police have dealt with you not once, twice, or 3 times? Must I tell the world where you got those marks from? From your own community because you were stealing from them. Yeah, from Ghanaians. He was stealing from Ghanaians because it's not easy to be in South Africa, guys. It's not easy for South Africans and it's not easy, especially when you are illegally here. He decided that he's going to start robbing Ghanaians. And Ghanaians dealt with him, and that's why he got those marks when he removed his t-shirt. So I've got more stories to tell about you to show that you are a liar. But I think I don't blame you because there are some Ghanaians that I noticed there. Fortunately, their numbers are still connecting. And I say, hey, why did you say that in an interview? Mr. Ablakwa said we must not say anything positive about South Africa. Now, this is happening behind the cameras when we are now asking questions like, I don't understand. One of the ladies that swore at our president and called him gay. Do you want me to tell your story about your stay in South Africa as a prostitute? Must I tell? Yeah, as a prostitute? And then you have the audacity to come onto this internet and swear at South Africa and call us massive pussies and all of that stuff and say we are all HIV positive when you the one who is, because you picked it up from the streets of South Africa. Well, let's say because you say it's a heavy nation, you picked it on the streets of South Africa. And any man in Ghana that interacts with this woman, I would advise you to go get yourself checked. Uyatreka. Oh, I saw more. Because me, I'm very highly connected with the Ghanaian community here in South Africa. I could also recognize some few people that got off the plane, and I was like, oh, I'm so glad you made it, because I knew of their suffering. I was so happy to see so many of them hopping out of that plane, because we got to see them hopping when they were at Old Tambo International. It was too chaotic. But when they were coming down the staircases, I was looking close and I'm like, I recognize him. I recognize her. The lady that couldn't even walk because she was finally home. She's been wanting to go home for the past 10 years. But her only problem is that she was living from hand to mouth. She would make these pies early in the morning, put them on her head in a bucket, and go to Ghanaian stores and sell them for breakfast and for tea. That lady. It was hard. And now when we're asking, hi guys, no, this is not how it was for you in South Africa. They said us we must lie. Any TV station that calls us, any podcast that calls us, we cannot tell why we love South Africa and why it pains us to have left South Africa. It's not because of the so-called xenophobic attacks. They said because they've always wanted to go back home, but to put together a ticket, number one, was near impossible. While you're trying to put together a ticket, money for the ticket, your passport is getting expired or has expired. Now you're stuck in South Africa. Those are the legit stories that we were hearing from Ghanaians. And now they went out and lied because the Minister of Foreign Affairs decided that we are going to destroy the reputation of South Africa with lies. I say it again, Mr. Ablakwa. Lies have short legs. You are putting the people of Ghana into trouble. Coming back to Ronald Lamola, I see the propaganda has indoctrinated him so much so that he uses very questionable language that made me at first wonder, is this AI or real? Things like the new wave of attacks. New wave of attacks? What attacks are these? You are asking your counterparts for evidence about Ghanaians and Nigerians being unalive due to xenophobic attacks, and at the same time, you are talking about a wave of new attacks? Are you that indoctrinated? Or maybe it's just English is not our tongue and English never loved us type of situation. What was going on with that? I did not understand, because they can use that as defense. They can even accuse you of lying, of concealing. I was quite perplexed by that. The Mozambican story that also spread into the international community, that South Africans unalived 5 Mozambicans, when in fact it is totally the opposite. Totally the opposite. And Mozambicans have been unaliving South Africans en masse for years. Lucky Dube, our greatest musician, fell victim of Mozambicans. They unalived him when they hijacked him. But no, that story has been twisted and turned into, South Africans are the ones that unalived Lucky Dube, and some of them, when they were asked, why did you unalive Lucky Dube, they said, we didn't know it was Lucky Dube, we thought they were Nigerians. Lies. Because South Africa must look bad. Jealousy makes you nasty. If you want your country to look like South Africa, maybe you need to learn from South Africans. How did you make your country so attractive? Because your people are here because they got attracted to a country we built. Anyways, going on with the 16 Ghanaians in hospital, and I think I understand why the Minister of Foreign Affairs throws in lies on the international community. Let me tell you something about South African systems. We record everything. Yeah, the stuff that you guys don't do in your countries. Because if I had to ask you, how many people in Ghana that suffer from mental health illnesses? What's the stats? You wouldn't know because you don't record those things. In South Africa, we will tell you outright like this because they are recorded. So when you enter our clinics, names get recorded. You're going to be required your ID if you're South African or your passport if you're a foreign national. It goes into the database. The clinics or the hospitals database, subsequently to a national database. So when you speak and start saying nonsense, what we do is, but I don't see any 16 Ghanaians in hospital due to xenophobic attacks. South Africa's constitution also allows the South Africans to demand for information, to have access to information. If we hear something and that thing does not sound right, again, our police system records everything and everybody that comes to the police station. The best way of knowing if this is true or not is to contact the South African police if a crime has been committed, like xenophobic attacks. Then the police will pull out the stats, or better yet, go to Statistics South Africa. So you cannot suck things out of your thumb when it comes to South Africa because we will prove it that you are lying. And the other big lie that he told, even about Emmanuel Asamoah. Emmanuel Asamoah was legally in South Africa. We checked. Yeah, ordinary South Africans can check. And he was illegal in South Africa. Illegal, just like 291st batch of repatriators were illegally in South Africa. Emmanuel even took out his so-called papers. He went to Ghana in one day to go correct his papers and came back the same day. Something that is near impossible. So that the Minister of Foreign Affairs says, oh, he was in South Africa legally. We even confirmed it with lies. Lies. And now he comes with 16 Ghanaians in hospital because of xenophobic attacks. And then do you think the Minister of our Foreign Affairs will not talk to his counterparts, the Minister of Home Affairs or even Health, to say, can you check this information for me? You think that, I don't know how your government work, but in South Africa, everything is interconnected with every government department is interconnected with each other. You can never lie about us, liar. And let's talk about the Ghanaian community in South Africa. They are now living in fear. Of the 30th of June, 2026, South Africans have turned their back on those Ghanaians. South Africans say, whatever happens, we don't give a shit anymore. Because the people that repatriate from South Africa go and lie about us. And that, what does it do to the Ghanaians that are here in South Africa? That means you too, you are fox in sheepskin. We don't trust them no more. Irrespective of what they say. A young gentleman tried to warn Ghanaians, guys, please. South Africans are not like that. We are not in danger under any circumstances. Which he was right, but South Africans are like, well, maybe you're performing. How do we know? If you get an opportunity to hop on the plane and when you land, probably your tune will change. You see, trust, it's so fragile. So I'm glad that Ronald Lamola took this route. It's an unfortunate route that he took, but what was he supposed to do? So that he can communicate with his counterpart in Ghana, the liar, Mr. Ablakwa. Don't bully us. We don't appreciate it, especially when we've been nice to your people. We've been nothing, we've been beyond nice with Ghanaians. And if you go back to the Ghanaians that were repatriated, and if they have the fear of God in them, they will say, yeah, to be honest, South Africans, they did nothing wrong to us. If they got the fear of God, and those that lied, God is going to deal with you. Lies are a sin, by the way. But anyways, I got to understand. I mean, I communicated with a lot of them when they were already back in Ghana. They're like, we were told to lie. And our suspicion, it hits right there on the eye. Brown envelope is not real. Gave you brown envelope to destroy the reputation of South Africa. The funny thing is, the world knows South Africa. And that propaganda is going to fall flat on its face. And I saw some other Ghanaians actually celebrating that the South African tourism declined. I mean, it went, yeah, it got affected. What they did not tell their viewers is that African tourism, because you guys come to South Africa disguising as tourists, and once you are in South Africa, you never go back. That's what declined. But the rest of the world is still coming to South Africa, and we are still making a hell of a lot of money out of tourism. None of them said, oh, because South Africans, they understand South Africans, they know South Africa, they know our history, they know the people that we are. They know us. But the Africans that had a nefarious plan to come here as a visitor, like the Ghanaians do, simply because we got free visa entries to each other's countries, so you overstay the 3 months. Those are the ones that decided not to come to South Africa. But the rest of the world, go everywhere. Our tourism hotspots, you will see, overwhelming. You can even, I don't know, go to Tambo International, sit there and watch planes full from Europe, Canada, Americas, South America. Right now, there's a World Cup Sunday. South Africa at the World Cup has become a breakout star. I think because of the match between South Africa and Mexico, which is quite historical, by the way. Suddenly, some South Americans are looking into South Africa. Down under, like your Australia, New Zealand, into Asia. They are still coming here with planes full of tourists to South Africa. So the celebration that you are having, that our tourism industry got affected, no. It's just y'all, the criminals. Anyways, I thought let's react to this video and also make my commentary and say, we are watching you guys. I mean, I believe there's a plane that's leaving South Africa or left South Africa to Ghana. And some of the people that are in that flight, I also happen to know them. I'm going to be watching what they say. It's going to be interesting. People of Ghana, do not vote for this political party ever again. It's putting you in trouble. If this is going to end in tears for you, you watch. That other lady that called our president gay and calling us Masepus and HIV country, she was a prostitute here in South Africa. And if she's talking about that disease, it's running through her veins. That lady. Y'all know who she is. Y'all know who she is. Anyways, I'll leave the video right here. I don't know what your thoughts, fellow South Africans, but this is where we find ourselves. Goodbye.